What is up, guys and girls? This is Smart's Cardfight Vanguard with a deck profile for Cardfight Vanguard. And this is my Gear Chronicles Zodiac Time Beast build, and I hope you guys enjoy. Now let's get to the deck profile. First of all, the starter I run is one Chronodram. Great starter, moves back when you ride. Its ability, when it's time leaped, you can put this card in the soul and call a grade 3's Chronojet in its name, any Chronojet. And if you do it in a turn, it goes back to your hand. So, next turn, Stride Father, and good place after that. Next is your main grade 3 in this deck. I run 4, obviously Chronojet Dragon G. And he is there for the Zodiacs. He is a continuous for each 2 face-up cards in the G-Zone. All your rear guards get 1k, and he gets 5k. So if there are 10 face-up cards in the G-Zone, your rear guards get continuous plus 5 during your turn, and he gets 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 25,000 power on his own. Next is his Stride skill, which is Time Leap. He is, when your Zodiac Time Beast strides, or a Gear Dragon strides into him, you can call up to 1 card from your hand, and then you can time leap 1 card. So for instance, when you stride, you can call 1 card and then time leap 1 card. So it doesn't have to be the unit called. You can call anything that you want. Next, I run 3 Chronojet Dragons. This is for if you misride Chronojet Dragon. Now there are other people who use like support cards for Chronojet Dragons, because this is supposed to be a pure Zodiac Time Beast deck. Well, I don't have those cards, but I don't really want to try them out right now. I like the whole Chronojet Dragons only Vanguard cards, and they're good for 1 stride that I have in this deck. So yeah, I run those Chronojets. Next, for grade 2s, I run the best grade 2, basically. Pulsar Cruising Dragon. During your turn, if you have a Chronojet Vanguard and this attacks, it gets +2. So it's already 11k attacker, which is already good. Then you can counter boss 1, check the top 3, add 1 Zodiac Time Beast card, and add it to your hand, and the rest go to the bottom of your deck in any order. So, searchable and good attacker. Next, I run 3 Spearhead Unicorn. Continuous, if you have a Vanguard with Chronojet Dragon, it gets +2, so it's a continuous 11k beater. And then when it attacks, you can counter boss 1, check the many cards as Zodiac Time Beast cards on the field. So, say for instance, there's 2, and then your Vanguard, that's 3, so you want to check the top 3 cards of your deck. And then, after that, you get to choose 1 card, not named Spearhead Unicorn Pulsar, and you can call it to the rear guard. And then the rest of the cards go back to the bottom of the deck in any order. So, more units is always better, especially for another unit I have in this deck in my G-Zone. So, it's good to have that. Next, I run 2 Pulsar Shiv Bullet Dragon and 2 Pulsar Tamer Igloo Ray. Igloo Ray is another 11k attacker when it attacks when you have a Zodiac Time Beast Vanguard. And then Generation Break 1, Soul Plus 1. If you dry check a grade 3's Zodiac Time Beast grade 3, you may pay the cost and time leap this card. And that's why I use that, because it gets an extra attack, and it's also 11k attacker, so I run a lot of 11k attackers, so all of them can hit. Now this is technically 11k attacker, but only when your Vanguard attacks after. But the reason why I use this is just in case I don't have a Stride enabler, and I'm at GB2 the next turn, and I need a Chronojet Dragon, or whatever. I can use him, and counter boss at the end of the turn, I can add a Chronojet and send a Chronojet from my deck to the top zone. So I can get rid of grade 3s as well as add one for next turn. Next for grade 1s, I run standard 4 perfect guards. The best perfect guard right now is Steam Tamer Aka. You can complete guard any of your Zodiac Time Beasts by just discarding a Zodiac Time Beast. Then it has an amazing GB2 skill in the drop zone. You bind one of this and a trigger unit, and you can add one to the hand. Now what's great about this is if you have cards that add cards from the bind zone, like Metapulsar Wanlong, which is just counterblast 1, add a bind zone, or Superior Call 1. It's great because you can either add this perfect guard back or a trigger unit. Like say for instance you heal for a Generation Guard. And next I run 4 Strider Neighbors for Zodiac Time Beast only. Reveal a grade 3 to add a grade 3 Zodiac Time Beast. And then, yeah, self-explanatory, second strike. Then of course, one of the best grade 1s, of course it's a redo of the Jeffrey Sunrays Knight and Gold Paladins. But instead, if you have a grade 4 Chrono Jet Dragon, you can put this in a soul. At the end of battle, it boosted and draw a card. So, really useful, definitely needed it. Boosts up soul, which you don't really... I have a lot of cards that soul. It's like there needs to be a card that soul blasts a lot, because I just have so much soul. Like, at times I usually have 8 cards in the soul. I'm just like, oh my god, what's... Nothing to do with this soul. Now for the last grade 1s I run 2 Steam Mashka, Steam Maiden Mashka, and the 1 Pulsar Tamer, whatever how you say the name. I use her just for extra draw power, and it boosts up your rear guards or vanguard power, and you get to draw, so that's really useful. I wish I had more. I would just take out one of her just to add another her, because she's just so important in this deck. You run through so much counter boss so quickly that this is really, really good. Because what she does is, if you have one place on rear, you can soul charge once for all, which you don't need to do because you have so much soul at all times, basically. And then, if you have grade 4 Vanguard, it gets act. You can put this unit and any unit in the drop zone back into the bottom of the deck, and you can counter charge. Now, if I had 2, I would be able to counter charge 2 times and still be able to go off, because you can call a grade 0 and activate Chrono Jet Dragon skill, time leap, it comes back, counter charge for free. That's why she's so useful. And she gets an extra card, so you can add more trigger units back into your deck. Now for triggers, I run 4 critical, 8 critical triggers, 4 bisons for the rabbits. At first, I was running draw triggers, the non-draw trigger for Zodiac Time Beast, the Lucky Pot Drago Kid, because you need draw power, but at the same time for this deck, you have plenty of draw power, so crits are useful. And you gotta run the most important 4 Pulsar Hypnosis Sheep. It's when this unit is placed on rearguard and it's JB1, you get the skill. At the end of battle, a unit attacked, put this in a soul, choose one of your rearguards, put it in the bottom of that any unit, so it can be a Mashka or a Chrono Jet Dragon, and then you can stand a Zodiac Time Beast rearguard. Now, why this is so useful is if you have 2 of them on the field, and you have your, like say for instance, you attack with both your rear guards. Both your rear guards attack. Then you have those on the field. You can stand one of them, or not yet, but you attack with your rear guards, attack with the Vanguard, get some triggers, put them all on one rear guard only, and then after you do that, just stand that rear guard 2 more times, and it's really good pressure on your opponent. That's a lot of potential right there. That's why I run 4. Definitely gotta run 4. And then obviously 4 heal triggers. It doesn't matter what kind of heal, I just run this because I like the design It's really cool. That's the main deck. Now let's get into the D zone. Now for starters, for my D zone, I run 2 Metapulsar Avenant Phoenix. It is a good, it can be a good late stride or a good first stride, because you can, when this unit attacks, you can counterboss 1, G-flip itself, and then you reveal 5 of the top cards of your deck, and then call up to 2 for each face-up card in the G zone. So that's why it's a good first stride, because if you just G-flip 1, you can call 2 units for that, which is really useful. And they have to be Zodiac time beasts, I believe. Yeah, up to 2 Zodiac time beasts only, into separate rear guards. And then what's good also is for like the late game is it has Generation Break 3. All your rear guards get +2. So your columns can get really good pluses by doing that, especially if they're attacking multiple times. So I love using that card. Next, I run 2 Chrono Dragon Gear Next. Act, Soul Blast 1, G-flip itself, and then it gets a skill. At the end of battle of attack, stand this unit, drive -2, and you can attack again. Then it has the Generation Break 4 skill. It gets +1 drive and +10,000 power. So that's 3 drive checks +2, unless you're not a GB4, which is just 1. But since I only run 2, I always make sure to do this at GB4. Unless I want to push for pressure and go for a game, then I will not do a GB4. Because I still have the Chrono Dragon Gear Groovies, which I think is amazing. Because by using this card with Next Age, you're able to use Chrono Dragon G skill much more reliable than Gear Next. Because Gear Next doesn't restand your Vanguard Chrono Dragon G. It stands itself. Now, the reason why that's so useful is because it's first effect that gives your rear guards plus and gives himself. So that's why I like using Gear Groovy. You guys should know what that does. And so Gear Next, Next Age, they're really old cards, but really useful. Now, I run 2 Interdimensional Dragon Raniclaw Dragons. Now, this is for the Gear Groovy skill. What I typically do is I stride into this first, because there's no other way to G-flip itself other than Gear Groovy, but I don't want to. And I don't want to stride into Next Age first stride, because by striding into this first, you still get your skills off, and then later in the game you can use Gear Groovy, G-flip it. Basically, it's a really good card because if your opponent doesn't have any grade 1s, they can't guard grade 0s on this attack. And if they can't guard, then it has a plus critical. So that's 2 damage, and they can't guard grade 0s. So they have to guard grade 1s. And then your Vanguard's going to stand due to the Next Age skill, so they're going to have to guard a lot during this. That's why I run 2. Lastly, I run 2 support of the cards. I run in Metapulsar Mystery Freeze Dragon and Interdimensional Dragon Crossover Dragon. Crossover Dragons for the Chrono Jet Dragon plays. You counterboss 2, it's pure call 2 Chrono Jet Dragons. And then if either of those Chrono Jet Dragons hit, you can put both of them into the soul and restand him. So that's no drive minus or anything. That's why I love this card, because 6 drive checks are really useful. And the reason why it's so good is because with the Hypnosis Sheep, you can stand Chrono Dragon G, and it gets an extra attack, so it puts a lot of pressure. Trust me. Especially at the late game with this card, that's really useful. Now I run, lastly, my I like using this. It's a fun card. It's not really useful. I don't really go into it a lot because I have my other cards. This is only if I have like really desperate and I know there's a lot of grade 3s, because I can send grade 3s back into the deck. And this is the only reason why I run this. Basically, you counterboss 2, and it's a GB3 counterblast 2. Shuffle your deck, and then you can bind the top 4 cards of your deck. And for each grade card, your opponent can guard. So if you get a grade 1, 0, and 3, your opponent can't guard with those grades. And then if it gets grade 3, a grade 3 in one of those cards in the top 4, you can gain 1 drive. So that's why I run that, because it's quad drive. Quad drive, plus you can't guard. That's a really useful skill. Now for G Guardians, I run 2 Radioactive Time Maiden Gurus, and the 1 Hunter Hound and 1 Time Maiden of Eternity Guru. Now I run 2 of the Guru because adding cards back into your deck is much useful than sending your opponent's rearguard back, and it's like a double-edged sword. But the reason why is because there are a lot of decks that have now resist, or I can't use this skill off. So that's why I run an extra shield compared to this. And then I run this because it G-flips, which is good for the Turn of the Dragon skill with the Gear Groovy. But also it gains 5,000 shield for each face-up card in the G-zone. So if you do this late game and your opponent has a big number, that's a big shield. Depending on how many cards in your G-zone. Well, that's my deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is my version. If you guys have any suggestions on me to make a little different, a little bit better than what it is, please tell me in the comments below. If you guys liked it, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I hope you guys enjoy. It took me a while to make, but I really love this deck. It's really fun to use, and it's pretty good. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good night.